This week is National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and I took that as a sign to talk about a deeply personal side of autism that is seldom discussed or even really known about. Right up front, I want to let you know that this video does contain discussions of eating disorders, so if that's something that triggers you or makes you uncomfortable, this is not the video for you. I also want to say that this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Before we hop into the video, allow me to introduce myself if you're new. My name is Kathlena and I'm autistic with a heavy dash of ADHD. My channel is all about celebrating neurodiversity and my journey as a late diagnosed autistic individual. If that sounds like your vibe, I invite you to subscribe. When I first started to suspect that I might be autistic, I read a book called Autism in Heels by Jennifer Cook. This was the first book that I've ever read on autism, let alone autism in women and girls, and it blew my mind in more ways than one. I related so heavily to many aspects of the author's story. When she started talking about her struggles with food and body image, I felt like she was taking the words straight out of my mouth. The author believed that the connection between EDs and autism were so closely intertwined that she suggested anyone receiving treatment for an ED should be considered for an autism evaluation. Studies have shown that autistic individuals are significantly more likely to develop an eating disorder than the general population. One study that was published in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders found that autistic individuals were more likely to develop anorexia and bulimia to their neurotypical counterparts. Another study that was published in the International Journal of Eating Disorders found that autistic individuals were more likely to develop atypical anorexia, bulimia, or binge eating disorders. So why are eating disorders so much more common within the autistic community? There are several factors that can contribute to this. Sensory sensitivities and a tendency toward rigid thought patterns can all play a role. I think it's important to put an emphasis on sensory sensitivities regarding food when we're looking at an autistic individual's diet. Things like certain smells and textures can really impact an autistic person's diet. My own eating disorder battle has largely been private. Only those that were close to me around the time that my eating disorder was at its peak really even know about my personal struggles with food and body image. I've never shared this part of my story publicly before, but the discomfort of vulnerability is worth the possibility of helping someone. I don't remember a time as a child or young adult when I wasn't acutely aware of my body. I was born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s and early 2000s when everything was fat-free or low carb, when heroin chic and paper flat abs were everything. Some of the closest people to me made me very aware of my weight and the amount of food that I consumed at a really early age. I can now see that those seeds that were planted were what eventually grew into a forest of self-destruction. I went on my first diet when I was 11, but it wasn't until I was 17 that my ED really became my obsession and primary coping strategy. My appearance was a huge part of my mask and was really the only place where I found praise and worth, so I leaned in hard. My autism appreciated the rules and structure, while my ADHD survived on the dopamine that the scale provided. My early adulthood years were dangerously self-destructive in more ways than one, but my eating disorder was by far the worst thing that I did to my body. It took me years and a lot of internal work to find peace within my body. Learning about my neurotype was the final door that needed to be unlocked to understand my relationship with food and how to better support my needs around it. While my ED monster does still exist, he is small and locked away and easily managed. I'm really proud of the freedom around food and my body that I've cultivated, because anyone that struggled with food knows how long and difficult that journey is. It's important to note that not all autistic people will develop an eating disorder, and not all people with an eating disorder are autistic. However, I do think that it's crucial to be aware of the increased risks and provide support and resources for those who need it. If you or someone that you know is struggling with an eating disorder, it's essential to seek help from qualified professionals. Organizations like the National Eating Disorder Association and the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network can provide resources and support for autistic individuals. I'll be sure to link both of those down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and comment on this video to help it reach as many people as possible. Remember to be kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.